Concussion. There was a lot of there were significant live performances with the Concussion EP.
Yeah.
You know, you performed with Malik on there, and then there's a song on there. I think it's Too Much. You told a story about a cousin that lied about being on Skid Row.
Yeah.
What was that about? Because it was right after that song, and it was interesting because I'm like, who's lying about living on Skid Row?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, that was my. In Concussion, it's funny. So Too Much is the first song to this other song Too Much on the Moon at Dawn. So it's the same. It's like the same story continued basically, but yeah, in Too Much on Concussion, that was yeah, my dad's first cousin. He came, for perspective, he had just gotten out of prison and doing time for a minute. He was like 18, I think, when he went in, and 18, 19, I think he got out like 34 or something like that. So all he knew was that, you know. And anyway, we gave him a place to stay briefly, which was agreed upon in the very beginning. And because like he's my dad's first cousin, and like we had discussed, my dad was not around at that time. When the time that he came through, it was when my grandfather, my mom's dad, had passed away. So it was like a vulnerable time, and like my mom was not really like with the shits about it, but was also like, I'm not gonna just leave family in the dirt. But she even asked my dad, like, how do you feel about this? And like him staying with us for a bit. And he was like, he was like, don't let that fool stay there. Like, don't let that fool stay there. And it's like, at least if you are, like, give him, like, tell him it has to be this amount of time and that's it, which is what we told him. And man, I'll never forget it. We told him, and we kept reminding him, like, look, bro, you got way more family here than us. You know, it's like, you need to hit one of them up, because it's like, we can't keep you here. My mom was just somebody who, she didn't want another man in the house while, you know, she just, whatever, you know, it's her crib. I'm not going to question it. And he is also somebody who's just not somebody you want to keep in the house all the time. You know, it's like he was just not cutting it out. It wasn't working. That's
the thing. Yeah, that's when you get older, you start realizing, especially when it comes to relatives, there are some times where, yeah, you do have to, it's hard sometimes, or not even sometimes, it definitely is hard. But when you, I mean, I think it's like that with any other relationship with someone. When you know who they are, you gotta kind of move in that way to a certain extent. Was that the first time where, in terms of family, that you, in terms of a lesson as far as learning, and then with it being present in the music, was that something that was really kind of like, even when you're putting it on paper,
yeah,
was it kind of tough to like be like, you know, put that down and lay it on a track, you know what I mean?
The thing was, I was frustrated, I was pissed, because when the day came that he had to leave, basically what happened was, he's texting me this long message talking about, you know, man, that's crazy, you guys are just putting me out in the street and this and that. And I'm like, it ain't like we just grabbed your shit and said, get out. It's not like we didn't say, yo, in 6 months, after you already been here for a certain period of time, it would be cool if you could, you know, find another spot, bro, because it's like, it's not cutting it right now. And we had our own things that we were dealing with, so it's like he wasn't really making the situation easier. So he's going on a rampage. He's texting me and like talking about, that's crazy, like y'all leaving me. He's like, man, I'm out here on Skid Row and blah 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 blah. And when he said that, I was like,
and that's where the lie came in.
To me, I'm like, first of all, why are you in Skid Row? I'm like, why? Like, you have so much family out here, and you over here talking about you're on Skid Row. So he sends me pictures of Skid Row. Cool, all right. And I look at the pictures and I'm like, now I know he has an Android and I have an iPhone, but that does not look like the quality there. I was like, there's something off about it. So me being, I question everything. Man, I look it up on Google, and sure enough, I find both the pictures he sent me. And I sent it right back to him, and I said, like, you're gonna lie to me and tell me you're on Skid Row and send me Google images? Let's just say I haven't spoken to him since that.
Right.
I've not spoken to him once. When my dad passed, he didn't call or say nothing, which is moving forward into the too much on the Moon at Dawn. I talk about it because it's like, I talk about, we were at our, my grandfather's funeral, and he's like bringing up, he was in Honduras seeing my dad like just before we had met up. So they had gotten into like some little thing, and that was another thing why my dad was like, I don't think you should let him into the house and this and that. And it's not like he stole nothing or anything like that, but it was just like, he was just not somebody that we needed to keep around at that time. And
yeah,
man, it was just too much. It's just family drama, bro. Like with my dad's side of the family, I hate even saying it like this, but it's just like, it's always something. It's never like a moment of just like, all right, let's breathe, like, and they suffered the most trauma in my opinion, like with, like, they lost my dad lost his baby sister first, and then the oldest sister, and then him, so it was just like, there was too much back to back to back.
Look, bro, like I get it. A lot of families go through that, and it's a reality that when you get older, that you come to terms with it. And like I said, for you as someone that's in your position, to put that in the music, again, that relates to a lot of people. And it was just wild to me because I'm like, who's lying about being on Skid Row? You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy how you kind of get into that. And, like you said, it comes up in the music. And because even when you performed it on stage, I could hear that emotion, because you even went as far as to say, don't trust nobody, don't trust nothing, don't do this, people will do you wrong.
Yeah.
Do you still feel that way now to this day? Because that was a while back, but now do you feel that mentality's kind of changed a little bit?
I feel like, to an extent, I feel like anything else, you have to kind of see who your audience is and kind of like use context clues towards different people, because like right, yeah. Some people will reveal themselves quicker than others.
For sure.
And will reveal how they are, their character, their personality, and how they behave will really show and like domino everything else. So it's like, it doesn't really, I don't want to say don't trust anybody, but I think it's be cautious of who you're like being around and who you have in your circle and what energy you're keeping. Because like a lot of the times it's like, there's definitely a lot of like wolves in sheep clothes, you know what I mean? And like, to me, it's, you got to just watch your back. And like, to me, that's why familia, the whole concept of my fan base is a community. It's like, it doesn't mean that like your blood relatives have to be your family. I call my family my brothers that are not even my brothers, that are just homies that I grew up with, and they became my family, and then like that was the whole thing, is that like family that's blood relatives can sometimes be the biggest strangers to you, while you have people who are with you daily, know about you, know your moves, know how you talk, know how you walk, know how you dress, know who you like and don't like.
For real.
And those people are way more important to me than people who are just going to come into my life and it's like, oh man, let me have opportunity for a little bit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
I don't like that. It's like, it's like we're all trying to put in here. It's not an easy place to live at. So it's like we're all trying to pitch in and play our part and play our role. And if you're not willing to do that, it's like, you got to know how to read that. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, yeah, I don't want to say like don't trust anyone, but like be cautious of who you're trusting rather,
That makes sense.